Alright, so this is going to be a quick demo of how you can bring your Illustrator lettering artwork into Photoshop so you can add textures and add secondary elements. So I would highly recommend that you get your Illustrator artwork, your lettering artwork to a good place before you start adding some secondary elements. Because then once you try to change it back, it's just going to be harder for you to have to re-import it and just change all of the things. So try to have all of your artwork to a good place before you start implementing and adding all the fun things. Alright, so this is my lettering piece so far. I have it only in black and white, using black and gray, and then having this like really light gray background. Your dimensions might be different than mine, but taking a note of like where my artwork is, where my background is. The way that you can export this into a Photoshop file, you can actually convert any Illustrator file into a Photoshop file. And the way to do that is you're going to go to File, Export, and then Export As. And then you're going to go to wherever you need it to be. For this, I'm going to go into, say, my project. Pretend this is like my project 2. Poster play, and then create. And before I select anything else, I'm going to go change the format to Photoshop, and this is going to save that as a Photoshop file. I'm going to change this to be today's date because that's how I like to name my files, and then also with the design. So design round 1. I like to check artboard so that all of the compositions would be there, and then I just click on export. Color model should be RGB. Resolution, let's do high, just so that we can maximize the amount of textures we add in there. And then for now, you can either, if it depends on if you want to maintain the layers, you would check right layers, or if you want to just keep it as a singular image, select flat image, and that'll just condense all of the layers into one. You lose all of the different layers you might have created. So I'm gonna do right layers, maximum editability. You can leave all of this the same, and then you can just press OK. Now this is going to update this Illustrator file and save that as a PSD. So then I can go into my Photoshop file, and then I can open my file that I've saved. It's in my projects, project 2, poster play, and the PSD that I've saved from Illustrator is going to be found on this folder. So you're going to just press open. Now, here's my artwork. Let's take a look at the layers to make sure all of the things that I need there to be are there. I'm gonna pull out the layers. And see, you can, all of the layers have been maintained in the Photoshop file. It even includes the groupings that I've created, but it also creates folders for every single group. So that's really handy. Artwork is on the first layer. Background is on the background layer, and everything seems to be really helpful. From here, you can use it just as any other, Photoshop file that you want to add texture to. So you can use it in a similar way, but always add it to a new layer. So that way, if you change things, you can always just maintain the maximum amount of editability to your artwork. So I'm gonna go ahead, and on this new layer, I'm gonna get started on adding some textures. All right, so I've gone ahead and I've added some textures. When looking at these textures, I'm gonna show you, the layers that I've done it. So I actually had to merge it down to the artwork, and I have like a couple textures on new layers on top of that, and I have some layers at the very top. What you're going to do after this is I would also hide the background first of all, because we're going to import this directly into Illustrator, and we don't need, and we're going to put this on top of all of our artwork, so we don't need the background. You're only going to include what you want to import back into Illustrator. If this is your artwork and you're totally fine with this and you can want to export this as an image, that's totally fine. But to bring it back into Illustrator, you're going to want to hide the layers or delete the layers that you don't want to bring back. And in this case, I have all of these textures that require this layer, as well as the top layer, and a couple layers above that. So you don't have to merge any of them down, but you're going to have to hide the background layer and then save this and then go back into Illustrator, and you're gonna go to File, Place, and then you're gonna select that same Photoshop file. I would include link because if you change the Photoshop file in Photoshop, it'll automatically update in Illustrator. So that will make it link together. And then place it in there, and your cursor is gonna update with your artwork. So you're just gonna click anywhere, and you can center this so it looks good, and that will sit on top of your artwork. And now your artwork is on top of it with all of your textures. So you have your Photoshop textures as well as any of the Illustrator work you want to do. And from here you can start to continue adding new shapes if you'd like to do on top of it, or continue working on it. But that is pretty much a simple version of taking your artwork from Illustrator, bringing it into Photoshop, and then coming back into Illustrator for finishing off. So hopefully that was helpful for you, including the textures. Make sure that you save all of your artwork. If you're not saving it to the cloud, make sure that they're linked properly, and that if you change anything, you can always revert back to your older version or a previously saved file too. So hopefully that helps, and let me know if you have any questions.